Today's A Match Made in Heaven is titled, All Things Are Possible. I like the title of this. There's a quote here by Perry Shelley. Nothing in the world is single. All things be a law divine. In one spirit meet and mingle. Help me, Lord. Please, God, lead me to the woman who will be the right wife for my whole life. I prayed this prayer with a passion while I was finishing my 20-year educational program to prepare me for my life's work. I was calling out a self-centered prayer to the living, leading Lord, I chose to believe and trust. Help me. The God who was slowly but surely answering my first childhood prayer, Lord, make me a preacher when I grow up, would give me guidance in life's three basic decisions. First, what do I want to do and be? The decision was made. Second, who and what do I choose to believe? I had made the irrevocable commitment to believe in the God of Scripture. I would be a follower of Jesus Christ. He was the world's leading expert on spiritual truth. He was and is the truth. Now I needed his help with the third basic human decision. Whom will I marry, or will I remain single? The insight I needed began in the hallway outside my psychology class. The instructor, Dr. Lars Granberg, wisely advised me, when you get ready to be serious about marriage, start with your head and your heart will follow. To press the point, he added strongly, never start with your heart, lead with your head. God was speaking to me loudly and clearly. I did not fully understand, but my young, critical mind accepted that counsel without an ounce of reservation. Help, Lord. Tell me the kind of woman I should marry who could help me to become a good preacher. I prayed with a passion. God answered by providing the criteria. First, she should share my faith. It would also prove helpful if she came from a background in family and religious training as close to mine as possible. Second, she should enjoy the ministry, and she should be called and motivated to be a generous and good helpmate to me in my life's work. Third, she should be attractive to my heart and stimulating to my mind and eye. She should stimulate the desires of both my body and my soul. Fourth, she should be a best friend, someone with whom I could share, talk, visit, and relate. Talking between us should be free, honest, easy, challenging, encouraging, entertaining, enlightening, comforting, and fun. Now my head was in charge. At the time, I was steadily dating a classmate who was intelligent and attractive, but she came from a culture, family, and community quite unlike my own. My heart felt strongly for her, but suddenly my head did not agree. Only 2 weeks later, the school year ended. As a seminary student, I was assigned a summer job to preach in a vacant Presbyterian church in Preston, Minnesota. I would stop at my home in Iowa on the way to my assignment. No sooner did I reach home than I received a telephone call from an elder at the church in Minnesota. "Mr. Schuller, you're coming out this week." "Yes, sir." "Well, we're asking you to wait 1 week. We're not quite ready for you." "Okay, no problem," I said, wondering what I would do from this Thursday until the next Thursday. The telephone rang again. It was a call from a leader in my little country church. "Bob, we remember that wonderful prayer you prayed after the tornado. We were wondering if you could preach this coming Sunday in our church." I was surprised and honored. "I'd love it," I answered. It would help fill my empty days with study, prayer, and preparation. Sunday morning arrived. The elder met me at the church and led me to a little room where he introduced me to an attractive 18-year-old organist. She struck me with a stunning, sparkling force I had never felt before. We discussed the service. She would play the hymns I had chosen. That morning I forgot that I was going steady. I thanked her for the wonderful work at the keyboard and heard myself say, "What are you doing this week? Would you like to go out with me tomorrow night?" After a slight pause, she accepted my invitation. We had our first date. She was from my kind of faith, family, community, and church. We talked, we laughed. I believe we held hands as I walked her to the door of her country home, a home as simple as my own. I drove home feeling sure she would make a good wife for me. I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, I immediately rushed for pen and paper and wrote a letter to my close friend, Bill. Dear Bill, I've met the girl I'm going to marry. Her name is Arvella Dehan. She is 18 years old. There wasn't a hint of doubt or questioning or indecision in my head or my heart. I was consumed not by a person, but by divine destiny. I've looked back on that moment 1,000 or more times. There had to be a God in charge of my life, for truly I could not have loved her when I wrote those words. I simply knew that I was to marry her, and it would be right. 4 days later I said goodbye and left for my summer job. The miles separated Arvella and me. I kept in touch throughout the summer. Then Arvella came to Hope College, which was next door to Western Seminary, where I was a student. Our relationship grew and matured. We planned our marriage for the week after I would graduate from seminary school. She would be the person God chose to help me make me the preacher I had prayed all my life to become. Our wedding took place in the middle of the century, 1950, in the middle of the year, June, in the middle of the month, the 15th. Do you take this woman to be your wedded wife? The officiating minister asked. If so, answer, I do. I do, I answered without hesitation or doubt. Will you love her? I heard this phrase like I had never heard it before. Will you love her? It was future tense, not present tense. Without any hesitation or doubt, I answered firmly and optimistically, I will. Never would a more self-centered prayer be answered by a supreme God more beautifully than my prayer for the right wife. First, a professor's unsolicited advice in a hallway. Next, a church calling me to interrupt my summer work schedule, keeping me home a week. And then my home church calling to invite me to preach this Sunday. God answered my prayer. It was a major play in his answering of an earlier prayer. Lord, make me a preacher when I grow up. No one has done more to shape this preacher more wisely and wonderfully than Arvella. I have listened and learned from her, and am always lifted by her. That's beautiful. This is by Dr. Robert Schuller. It's from My Soul's Adventure with God, a spiritual autobiography. It's out of Nashville, Tennessee. A match made in heaven. All things are possible.